Hi, everyone. We're live from DevTalks 2025. We are here at Romexpo in Bucharest. My name is Madalina, and I have with me Razvan Podovei. He is the head of cloud practice at EPAM Romania. Hi, Razvan, and thank you for being here.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Happy to be here. It's my third time coming to DevTalks, but first time giving an interview, so I'm excited.
Oh, and how are you enjoying the event so far?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. What brings a bit fat smile on my face is the fact that I see a lot of every year actually younger people coming, and this means we have even more exposure towards the young generation. I think this is key. So this is what I like the most. And the second thing I like is that I see more diversity in terms of companies. So I think this is a good thing as well.
Happy to hear that. We invited you here because we want to talk a bit about how's life at the EPAM Romania and what you do and how do you see this future of tech world. So we prepared a few questions for you. I promise they're easy questions, and I'm sure you will have the answers.
Hope so.
Let's start with, I don't know if you can give us some insight into how does your team stay collaborative and connected, especially in a hybrid way of working.
Well, yeah, thanks for the question. It is an exciting time we live right now. If I may, just a small background information here. So long gone are the times where most of our parents, right, they used to do a job, they used to do it for 30 years, siloed somewhere in a corner, and that was it for them. And those times are gone. We're so in a fast-moving pace, even compared to 10 years ago, we're moving. And hybrid and remote work is here to stay. Many people thought, with pandemic is over. No, for specific roles and specific industries, it is here to stay. And it's quite crucial. So the question has more depth to it, actually. It's quite crucial if we talk about it. What we noticed is the thing that people miss the most, be it they say it or they don't say it, is, those small conversations over coffee or that small brainstorming session when maybe a colleague was annoying and then you realize you had to do something different while you were talking to someone else. We used to trivialize this, right? But we discovered that this is actually something extremely important. We got a lot from these small interactions. So what we did at EPAM Romania is we implemented several aspects to counter these. So that's to say, basically increase collaboration actively. Give you some examples. For example, we have a mentorship program. Lots of companies have it, but actually we put a great emphasis on it. So for example, if you're a senior engineer in EPAM Romania, if you want, and you're incentivized in different ways, if you want to do this, you can sign up as a mentor for more junior or mid-level people, right? And what happens is junior and mid-level people, they can sign up as mentees. So it's basically, like I said, an intent. The intent is to increase collaboration. People can sign up for different reasons. Like, for example, you want to change to a more, higher level, professionally speaking, and you have to finish some stuff, and then you can go to a person who's already at that level, and you can have technical one-to-ones conversations to prepare yourself, or better prepare yourself to achieve that goal. Or you can, for example, you heard that it's good for you to have a specific certification in your CV, right? And you noticed while talking to someone that someone has that certification, and you can go, hey, can I be your mentee? Can we talk about it? Or, for example, you're bored of AWS and you want to go to study GCP, and there's a very good GCP architect somewhere there. So that's one thing. Another thing we do is tooling. And by the way, we do tooling great. I've been to several companies. EPAM is in its own class when it comes to tooling. We have tooling for everything. And this is not me selling anything. There's a tooling for staffing. There's a tooling for recruiting. There's even a tooling for your vacation. There's a tooling for every single thing. So we got it covered. And this brings structure. And because it brings structure, it brings people together. There's no need for, escalations or any kind of stuff. We use Teams. Everybody uses Teams, right? What we did, we created this what I call digital hub or hub spots. And those places are safe spots. People can ask, there's no stupid question there. There's no managers there. People can just ask questions as if you're gossiping over a cup of coffee, right? And it works, right? And another key aspect of increasing collaboration is we try to organize especially in the last year or so, almost every month, right? Almost every month we try to organize events. It sounds a bit cliche, but hear me out. Be it St. Patrick's, I don't know, Easter, Christmas, Women's Day, everything, almost every single month there's something. In the beginning, people were shy, why do I need to come? But now people are asking for it because we have events in those days and they're extremely collaborative and people talk to each other. And now they're asking, well, when is the next event? What do we do? There's nothing fancy about it, but we're in the office. And by the way, we have offices, and I'm proud to say this because I know it's a difficult thing for most companies. We have offices quite evenly distributed in Romania. We have an office in Iași, an office in Cluj, and an office in Bucharest here. So, yeah, basically that. Oh, yeah, and we just came from our yearly team building, which was a blast and a success. And we're very proud of that. We have had tremendously good participation. More than 200 people were there. Imagine that. And it was a proper team building. We had some tablets and we went digital treasure hunting. And it was really cool. So I think that's what we do. We're not reinventing the wheel, but it's the small things.
So that's why you just came back from the team building, and this is why you're so relaxed, or
yeah. Maybe it definitely helped. It definitely helped.
Cool. I think you touched a little bit on my next question about what kind of profession, what kind of opportunities does EPAM Romania offer for professional growth?
Okay, so you're touching on a professional growth, right? Well, I'm sorry, I got to say it again. We have tools for it. But joke aside, so I'm going to mention some examples, right? For example, EPAM Learning. So EPAM Learning is a platform. It encompasses thousands upon thousands of hours of self-study or instructor-led courses if you want to sign up. On top of that, there's LinkedIn Learning, part of the EPAM Learning. Everything that you find on the paid platform, LinkedIn Learning, is included in our platform. On top of that, there's also Khan Academy stuff there. So realistically, transparency up to the maximum here. Only if you don't want to study, you can't find something there. And these are not only technical aspects, leadership, interaction, emotional intelligence, lots of courses there. This is one example. Another example is EPAM Campus. This is like EPAM University for young graduate or just fresh graduates. They can sign up and it's instructor-led. People go there and sign up and they follow courses remotely, of course. And then after, if you've passed the exam and the whole course, you get assigned to a practice. Practice is EPAM speak for a specific tech stack. So for example, I'm the head of cloud practice. Basically, I'm leading a department of approximately 80 engineers in the cloud area. So then, like I said, through EPAM Campus, you get assigned to one of these practices. You can go to Java practice, or you can go to whatever, UX design practice. Another good example would be maybe on top of EPAM Campus and EPAM Learning, EPAM Level Up. It's a gamified platform. Actually quite interesting. So you get points for different stuff you do every year. Experience, right? For those gaming fans out there. So basically you get points, and not only on this platform, not only do you see where you currently stand, but you also have a clear path on what you still miss to go to the next step. Also, who you can contact, who's a good mentor in the mentorship program to go to the next step. So actually, if you tick those boxes through the EPAM Level Up, you can follow your career. Of course, it can take, when you're early on, it can take 1 year. If you're high level, it can take 3 years, but definitely it can do that. Of course, if you have a gap in your CV or if the project needs, we also support to some extent certification for our people. So these are some examples that I can share.
Thank you. Is there any career advice that you wish someone had given you earlier in your life?
Yeah, there's plenty of advices I would give myself if I would meet Razvan from 10 years ago. Wow. Yeah. So since we're here, start building your network. Networking early and fast when you're young. Join events. Ask stupid questions. Don't be afraid to fail. I'm going to give you an example from my own career. when I was just starting, all the way back in 2010, I remember when we joined, we were a bunch of guys. You know, I'm an engineer by profession, and we were 25 fresh graduates, right? All of a sudden, hired at the same time. 6 months into the role, I realized that I think 5 or 6 of them, they were actually already were working already for a year in another company in a totally different area, but they joined as fresh graduates here. And what I realized, and this is an advice I would love if I would have had it at that time, was basically don't be afraid to fail. Okay, find your passion. But this is also a bit cliche because what's a passion for you today, 10 years down the line may not be your passion because we're human beings. We change our mind. That's fine. But don't be afraid to fail. What I mean by this is, for example, you invest 6 months after you graduate college, for example, and you realize you don't like it, but you're afraid you have maybe some financial obligations or something, and you're afraid to change. 10 years at that time may seem like a long time, but it's not that long. It really flies. So if you don't change just because you're afraid, and you end up 10 years down the line full of regrets, you're way worse off than you would have been if you would have stopped and changed at that time. It's much easier to change when you're early. What else? Piece of advice. So I mentioned keep an open mind. I mentioned networking. Soft skills. When I studied here in Bucharest in Polytechnical School, it was I think at some point, maybe in my 3rd year of study, I seriously, I cannot be more honest. I had 3 types of mathematics: 1, 2, and special. And the special mathematics basically had no numbers on it. It was just letters, but it was mathematics. This was serious, but point is, there's nobody teaching you, like for real, nobody teaching you about soft skills, how to communicate, how to be empathic, how to understand, how to manage frustration, because all of these are just as important as the technical aspect, maybe even more in some aspect. So soft skills is another thing that I think invest in soft skills or invest in yourself to develop your soft skills. I think is something that I would definitely love as an advice when I was early. You know what advice I got when I got the news that I can go in my first year of study? So there was a paper admission. And just like you here, there were a bunch of people, but they were senior, already students. And I, talked to them. I need to choose which class I should be in, A, B, C, D. Do you know which class I should be in? And at that time, the advice I got were from more senior, people that were making fun of other people. And they suggested maybe, I think, C, and that was the worst one you could get. So I played Polytechnical School on hard mode because we're the most difficult teachers. And but I don't regret it. I think it was an amazing time, and it definitely made me the man I am today.
If you think in the longer term. Cool. Because you were talking about investing in yourself and taking time to do stuff. My next question is, how is EPAM Romania preparing for the tech trends of the future, do you think?
Right. Everybody should wear an AI hat, right? So it's the AI or nothing, right? Well, EPAM has, we're actually a public listed company.
Okay.
We're a huge presence around the world. More than 60,000 people around the world are EPAMers. We have an amazingly big organic growth, also through some inorganic methods like acquisitions, but we're quite huge on the global scale. And because of that, what makes us have that top notch in front of our competitors, I dare say, is we have a couple of R&D labs around the world. And what I mean by R&D labs, we invest in really cutting edge technology there. Of course, AI is just one of them, and but RPA or robotic processes, all of the things that we invest there through the connectivity and the partnerships that we have with all the hyperscalers, your Microsofts, your GCPs, your Oracle Clouds, your AWSs, all of them. EPAM is a global partner with millions of dollars of consumption. So you get access early on to technologies. And we invest those technologies in these R&D labs, for example. And what the outcome from those labs are, for example, specific automation tasks that then we use in the projects that we have with our customers to increase efficiency, reduce costs, for example, or improve latency or for specific tasks. All of those are outcomes from that. Another thing that we do in EPAM, we invest in talent. We are firm believers of two things. One is you are as strong as your weakest link. And the second thing we truly believe, and we really etch this on our brains, is that a company's biggest and the most expensive and the most thought-provoking asset it has, it's people. So because of this, with the mentorship program I gave you earlier as an example and some other examples, we invest a lot in talent. We have a tremendously professional talent acquisition team, but also talent growth team. So we invest in talent as well. And I think that's critical for the future, to be future-proof. So these are some examples that we do here. And we actually have our own chatbot that we developed based on one of the AI models. So I think EPAM is pretty strong, I would say, into being future-proof. Another thing, by the way, I just remembered that EPAM does is we're here, right? Where are we today? We're at DevTalks. Why is it important for the future to be here? I just realized something, and I think this is worth mentioning. Being where the action happens as a company is tremendously important for the future. Why is this? It is here in these hallways. You see people chatting, gossiping this, and did you hear about that stage? I don't think it's correct. I think I did it differently. And all of these small conversations, this is where the future is written. This is what we today say future. This is what tomorrow is going to be actual reality. All of these conferences and all of these conversation and the community, I think it's part of the future. So that's what EPAM does. We don't miss one of them. We're here and we love it. And I think it's important for the future to be present here. So.
What do you think are some underrated skills that tech professionals should develop?
Underrated.
Yeah.
Underrated. Tech professionals. Well, communication and collaboration. I mentioned earlier, right? I think communication is king. Okay, everybody can hear me. You need to have proper communication, both in your professional life, also at home. Communication is king. So I think this is an underrated skill. Adaptability is another one. What I mean by adaptability is, with the advent of AI, developers in particular, but also tech professionals in general, they are pushed towards a more complex solving tasks kind of role. Because of this, long are gone are the days where I'm a Golang developer. That's it. Not really. You need to be adaptable. I mean, look at me. I am an engineer. I started as a telecom engineer, and then I switched to cloud, and then I did cloud for Azure technologies, and now I'm doing it for Google technologies. So adaptability, I think, is pretty underrated. If you're quite unadaptable, I think it's going to be a hard time for you. What else? Another underrated skill is business acumen, business knowledge. You say, hey, Razvan, these are tech professionals. They don't need to know business. I'm not quite so sure. Knowing business acumen or having business knowledge, your CapEx and OpEx, your, shareholder management and profit margins, that's also quite important to, maybe not as important as the other ones, but it's quite important because through knowing these, you, for example, avoid frustration when one of your POC gets rejected. You worked, for God's sake, 2 months on it and then it got rejected. Why? Well, maybe if you have business understanding, you will understand why. Or maybe you participate in an RFC or some due diligence and you understand the business process behind it and you want it together with the team you were part of, then you can take that business knowledge and apply this somewhere else on top of the technical aspects. For example, it can be a more efficient code because the cost observation was important in this specific vertical, for example. Some verticals have more financial pressure than others. Cost is more important in, for example, retail than medical vertical, for example. Medical vertical puts less importance on that. Also, emotional intelligence is an underrated skill. Being able to steer the communication flow in the direction you want. I didn't say manipulate, I say
Steer. Yeah.
steer. Understanding complex human feelings while you talk to your customers, reading them in advance before frustrations happen. This is all part of the emotional intelligence kit. Okay, I'm sure psychologists say it was debunked, it doesn't exist, but sure, maybe it doesn't exist as a piece of study somewhere in college, but definitely there's a set of traits. If you can improve those set of traits, gives you the cutting edge or a cutting edge in communication. So communication with emotional intelligence, I think, is a sharp knife you can use.
We're also speaking a lot about adaptability. So my next and last question is: how do you see the role of tech professionals developing in, let's say, the next decade?
In the next decade, God knows. So 10 years is both a long and a short time, depending on the context. So what I can say is that developers for sure will move from their classical development role to a more consultancy or complex solving tasks. So they will teach the robots, or they will teach the algorithms on how to be more efficient or better. And so they will be solving or moving to more complex solving tasks, that's for sure. And also, I think security already is quite important, but it used to be mainly some specific verticals, finance, banking. I'm pretty sure in 10 years' time, it will be first security and then any other architecture. There will be no architecture without everything from MFAs to everything else. I think security is becoming bigger than per se engineering and developers and developing. I read this somewhere, I think it was an article. I'm not going to take credit on this. I think a huge emphasis will fall in the next 10 years, especially on developers, on ethical aspects. Because a lot of the automation that I used to do or testing now is being done by a specific machine or algorithm, literally lives, physical or psychological, of other people will have consequences based on an algorithm and not a human being. So I think an ethical component will be definitely a part of a developer's role, and how does that impact the output of their work. Cloud, I'm the head of cloud. I'm biased, I know, but I think the future without cloud is impossible. We see cloud now being adopted for banking. Governmental agencies are now moving to the cloud. Even in Romania, right? We have the governmental cloud being worked upon as we speak right now. So I think cloud in respect to developers is going to be key. So if you're a developer, DevOps, definitely start focusing on a specific part of not necessarily a vendor or hyperscaler, but at least components, your databases, your machines, and so on and so forth. Also, I think the future of tech professionals is less and less siloed. We tend to see, and I tend to see as well, a moving away from, this is even in your agile framework, this is your PBI, this is your task, you work on it. Because the tasks that were simple, I click, and then I have my templates, and then that's done, and I just ask for a new PR and then push it through the pipeline, and that's it. I think that's moving away slowly because you're going to be solving more complex scenarios. And how do you solve more complex scenarios? Well, through interaction with different entities. So I think this is another aspect that will change, or where they see things change. Another key thing that I just realized is we see a move from, even though these are contrasted terms, both standardization is becoming more prominent, but also specialization. Hear me out. What I see is people need to be more generalists. For example, as an architect myself, I have no chance if I don't know a bit of everything, because people and organizations and enterprises have more and more intertwined in hybrid environments. You see architectures with Microsoft, Google, and Amazon in the same bulk. You have the machines, the virtual machines somewhere, and then you have the database from someone else. So you need to be more generalist. But also, if you noticed, AI, two letters, big words, right? AI is quite flat right now. What I mean by this is we already see a growing stratification. Basically, we start to see basically layers in AI. Right now, it's AI, machine learning, and that's it, right? Large language models. We use it to ask why my back hurts. But actually, we start seeing diversification in this. What I mean is we tend to see, especially on verticals, we tend to see AI for media sector, AI for finance sector. And of course, developers will follow. They will be specializing in different types of AI. I think this is also quite around the corner. You will see AI developers for different things being job roles, if you want. What exciting times, I think, ahead of us. Definitely.
It definitely sounds very intriguing. We have to wait and see what happens. Razvan, thank you so much. It was a pleasure. And we hope to see you again maybe next year. Why not?
Sure, for sure, I won't miss it, for sure. And really, I appreciate giving me the opportunity to talk about EPAM. And as you saw, I'm very excited. I love my job, so I think there's very good reasons for that. And thanks for organizing all of this. Looking forward to seeing everybody next year.
Take care and see you soon.
Thank you.